YouTube. What's up, baby? We back again. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and we're back to talk about another episode of Locke and Key. Let's go. So we're on Locke and Key season 2, uh, episode 3, entitled Small World. So I'm not gonna spoil everything. I'm just gonna hop into a few things to get you the gist of what happened in the episode, and hope you guys enjoy. All right. So, anyways, we see in the beginning that Erin, her younger version, we see her basically um, kind of getting locked within herself, right? Like her memories and stuff like that are just locked in her head. So her outer shell is kind of no good at that point. She doesn't really talk. She doesn't, she can't really do anything because her liveliness is stuck inside of her head now. So we get to see that, and that was pretty cool because we all knew how her old version was, and of course now we get to see her in a new light now, right? So um so after Kenzie and Tyler ended up, you know, freeing Erin's mind and give her memory back and stuff like that, and her liveliness back, she has to have somewhere to go. So she ends up staying with the Locke family, and that's weird because you had Erin is Rendell's uh, um, girlfriend from like when they were younger, and of course the mom Nina is in that house as well. So it's kind of weird, but they need Erin because of her experience and because of everything that she knows about the magic and the keys and the and the entities and just everything. She's a very important character, and I think that she's going to be very useful. Not she wasn't just and not just useful in this episode, but just for the rest of the season and probably into next season if nothing happens to her. And then as Erin is there in the house, she's kind of thinking about, oh man, all the stuff that happened to us, and you know I should have gotten rid of those keys a long time ago, and just give me all the keys. She's telling that to Tyler and Kenzie, but they're like, bro, like this is our inheritance. We've been making smart decisions with the keys, so no. No. But you can see the reason of why she wanted the keys, because it is a dangerous game to play. You know, with power comes great responsibility, right? Um, anyways, at the time that they're doing their thing, Bodhi is like having a little snack. He's eating a banana, and then all of a sudden he starts hearing whispering, and you're like, bro, another key. And so he ends up walking around, and he goes to this desk, and then he opens it up, and inside the desk is a telescope, and he like extends it, and then there's a key in there, and it has a symbol of a house on top, and the house resembles their house. And I forgot to mention in the last episode, um, we saw Josh at his own apartment, and I think he lives like on the campus or whatever, of the school, and he had a miniature of uh, the Locke house. So it was crazy. It was like a dollhouse, but it was exactly modeled after the Locke house. So I thought that was weird. Now, and when I saw that, I was like, bro, we gotta watch him because I don't know what he's up to, but we gotta watch him, bro. Um, but anyways, so there's a new key with the house symbol. Bodhi takes it, and he's trying to look throughout the house to find out the opening, if he can find an opening for it to use it, and he can't find it. So he kind of just gives up for a second. Um, we end up finding out that the new key goes to this mini house that Josh has at his apartment on the campus, right? Um, so what happens is, because Nina's son Bodhi is so close to Josh's daughter, Jamie, they end up setting them up for play dates. And as Jamie and Bodhi are hanging out in the room together, Nina and Josh are hanging out in the living room together, and they're drinking coffee and just reminiscing, right? And then you switch back to Bodhi and Jamie, and they're playing Monopoly, and then this spider happens across the board, and Bodhi flicks it. He's like, "I hate spiders." Da 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 da. And in the midst of them doing stuff, um, I think they start going around looking for things, and Bodhi ends up noticing that they have the miniature house of the Locke house. Like, it's like a dollhouse that looks like the Locke house. He notices it. He's like, "Yo, like, this is crazy. Like, why do you guys even have this per se?" And Jamie's like, "Oh, my dad had it. He bought it a long time ago, whatever, right?" And he thinks to himself, the key goes to this. So pulls the key out, inserts the key, turns it, and they remove the top of the house off. And then inside is the whole layout of the house, right? And it's exactly how it is, you know, for them when they the layout of the miniature house is exactly how the big house is. And even so, when you have the key inside there and the magic is working, you can see the people doing what they do in the miniature as they're doing it in the big house. So he looks, he sees his brother. His brother's like listening to music laying on the bed. He's like, "Yo, that's crazy." So Bodhi's like, "I'm gonna go look at my room." He goes in this room, he picks up his bed and he breaks it. And then he's like, "Oh man, I didn't mean to do that." And so he puts it back down, right? And so, Jamie and Bodhi are having fun with this new, per se toy, right? And then what ends up happening is Nina and Josh come to check on Bodhi and Jamie, and right before Bodhi can, take the key out, they come in, and then Nina sees the miniature of the house, and she's all weirded out because it's like, "Yo, like, why do you have a miniature of my house? And like, why are we talking?" And also, like, it's kind of weird. It's like, "Are you stalking me? Like, do you know stuff about me that I don't know that you know? Whatever." So, but he's explaining to her, "I'm a historian. I bought this a while ago. Da 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 da. Right." Um. So it ends up being that Bodhi and Nina leave, and he ends up whispering to Jamie, "Hey, keep the key away from your dad," because he didn't have enough time to grab it. Um, so anyways, they leave and they're pretty much headed back home at that point. Um, it ends up being that Aaron explains to Kenzie and Tyler that the reason why they weren't the reason why they never forgot about the magic as they got older was because they made a key in order to not forget it. And but the thing is, she doesn't know where the key is anymore, and she doesn't know how to make the keys. So we go from that to learning that, and I forgot to say also. Well, no, we're right on point actually. No, we're right on point. So, anyways, Bodhi ends up getting home, and he goes upstairs to his room, and his bed is broke. So we realize at this point, not only does the miniature dollhouse of the Locke house, not only when the key's in there, not only can you see what's going on, what people are doing in there, but if you tamper with something, it affects stuff at the house as well. So we learned that, right? Um, so it, and so we're gonna jump back to something else now, or jump forward to something else now. Um, it ends up being that Gabe is starting to get jealous of Scott and Kenzie's, relationship, because it's kind of rekindling again. They used to go out, but they broke up, and now Gabe goes out with Kenzie. Um, so he's kind of getting jealous, and it's just weird because it's like, he's Gabe, but he's Dodge, really. And it's like, well, are you catching feelings for Kenzie? Like, I don't know what's going on. And even like Ian is like, you're just supposed to be like playing a role. Like, are you falling in love with her? And then like he's kind of like gives her an evil eye or whatever. So I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure eventually, right? Um, and then so Gabe is like, I got to do something to break them up. So Gabe tells Eden to take the Anywhere key and go to the Locke house and find the music box, because the music box, when you talk into it and you talk about somebody, you can make them do whatever you want. So his whole plan is to set up a situation and make Scott look bad in front of everybody, but most importantly in front of Kenzie, so she could stop being so close to him and then go back with Gabe. So, anyways, they're Kenzie, Gabe and Scott and everybody sitting at the cafeteria, and they're talking about stuff. And Gabe kind of makes a remark to Scott, and Scott stands up and he starts walking towards him, and he's like about to fight him. But as he's doing this stuff, he's saying, "I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this," but he's still doing it. But he's like, "I'm not controlling myself right now." But everybody didn't care at that point. They were just like, "Yo," because he ends up socking Gabe. He ends up pushing Gabe. Da 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 da. Right. And then so after the scene is over, Kenzie's like, "Oh yeah, there's a music box that controls people. Maybe someone stole it and basically ended up, using it against Scott." And Gabe is like, "Okay, I guess so." In all reality, he knows that that's the truth, right? So Kenzie's plan is to call her uncle Duncan and have him go to her room and check to see if the music box is still in her room. So Gabe figures that out, and he quickly tells Eden to use the Anywhere key, go back to the Locke house, put the music back, put the music box back in Kenzie's room, and then then we're good, so we can cover our butts. So she does that, but when she gets to the house and she puts the music box up, Duncan, the uncle, ends up coming upstairs before um, she can leave the house. And she was in such a rush that she left the Anywhere key on top of the dresser. So she hides under the bed as he comes in. He's like, and then he looks for the music box and he finds it. And of course, he tells Kenzie, "Hey, the music box is here. Nothing's going on. Da, 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 da. Whatever you're worried about, that's not the case." And so, of course, Gabe and Eden basically covered their butts by doing that. And so he goes back downstairs or whatever, and then but before he does, he grabs the Anywhere key because he sees it. Now, he just grabbed it just by chance. It's not that he remembers what it was or anything like that, but he just grabbed it just by chance. So he grabs it and goes back downstairs. Then Eden's like, "Oh crap, bro! Like, how am I gonna get back to the house?" Like, so she ends up having to walk all the way back to where Eden and her are staying at the time. I'm sorry, Eden ends up having to walk back to where Gabe and her are living at the time. Because the Anywhere key is gone now, of course. Um, so, anyways, um, we end up finding out that that spider that was in, Josh's house was, of course, still alive, and it crawls into the dollhouse, the miniature of the Locke house. And of course, whatever happens there happens at the real house. So it's small there, but it's huge at the house. So, of course, Bodie and Tyler, uh, Aaron and Duncan end up having to take the spider out or try to take the spider out. Towards the end of that situation, they get caught into a room and they're all together. So Bodie's like, "You know what? I'm going to call Jamie and have her kill the spider because it's small, in the dollhouse, but it's big at their house." So he calls Jamie, tells her, hey, there's a situation going on. Kill that spider. It's in the dollhouse. She kills it, and then the spider that's at their house, the big version of it, ends up dying as well. So Jamie ends up saving the day. And so that was that. And then after it's over, it's okay for everybody else to know what happened and what was going on, because they all know about magic, but Duncan doesn't remember. And so he's like, what's going on? How'd this happen? Da, 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 da. And then Tyler's like, don't even worry. About 3 seconds pass, you're going to forget. 3 seconds pass, he forgets. Anyways, Gabe is waiting for Eden to come back. And it's nighttime. She finally gets back, and she's all dirty. And he's like, why did it take such a long time for you to get here? He's like, so in the midst of me doing all this stuff for you, I ended up leaving the anywhere key, and Duncan got it now. And he's all pissed off, but he's like, you know what, forget it. We don't even have to worry about that no more. I could learn the secrets of the old man. So what happened was, earlier throughout the day, Gabe ends up going to visit Kenzie at her house, but Kenzie's not there. Bodhi's there. So he's like, I bought all this stuff for her. It sucks that she's not here. And then Bodhi's like, oh, well, I'll take it and we can hang out. And he's like, all right, cool. He's secretly trying to, use the keys or find a specific key. They use the keys. They're having fun, da-da-da-da-da. But then it gets to the point where Gabe is like, hey, where's the ghost key? And that's what he wanted the whole time. Bodhi ends up giving it to him. Gabe becomes the ghost, goes into the dimension, and finds one of the old Locke members, like the old grandpa. And of course, he's knowledgeable about everything, right? And so he asks him, hey, I'm dating your great granddaughter. I love her, and we all know about the magic and the keys and stuff like that. And I just want to make something special for her. I want to make a key for her. And so the grandpa's like, yeah, you can do it. What you have to do is you have to have the whispering middle melted down, take out all the impurities, and then focus on what you want the key to, the power of it, the key to be based on. Focus on it really hard as you make it, and then drop a little bit of your blood in it, and then you get to make the key what you want it to be. So he ends up doing that. And when he does it, what ends up happening is the key blows up. And so he realizes that the old man lied to him, and he wants to figure out why he lied to him. He obviously figures that the old man knows that Gabe is not who he says he is, right? And then we end up finding out later on that, I think we find out from Aaron that Duncan was the one that made the keys when they were younger. And we obviously hear from the old guy. I'm sorry, they did say that Duncan was the one that made the keys when they were younger. And basically her whole thing is she feels bad about someone tampering with her life. And of course on season 1 we find out that younger group, Aaron and them and Randall and stuff like that, they ended up tampering with Duncan's memories, and he ended up forgetting a lot of stuff. And so she's like, I've got myself back, and I feel bad that Duncan doesn't. So please, Tyler and Kenzie, let me use this key one time. And they're like, we don't have that key, but I know what you're talking about. And so he pulls out the memories, and lo and behold, that's Duncan's memories in there. And that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to get Duncan's memories and plant it back in his head. So that's the plan, to plant the memories back in his head, so that way he can remember either how to make the key, or where the key was that he made, or explain how to, because I guess the key that he made was a remembrance key, and that's like vital for a lot of reasons right now. But anyways, that's it for right now, bro. I really enjoyed the episode. I give it a 9 out of 10. If you guys saw it, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Q's Insight. I am Callie, and until next time.